Okay, so welcome to our Q&A. Thank you for joining in, and again, your patience with getting everything on. I am on my phone, which I'm used to the Zoom call on a laptop, so I think it should be fine. But if there's any questions, of course, just let me know in the comments. Now, we are going to be doing our Q&A from last week and this past week. So lessons 1 and 2 in this new phase, this phase 2, which is the cycles and also creating your own ceremony. So there's not much that I wanted to touch on or add to other than with the ceremony, opening the space. I never spoke to that. I talked about closing the space, but of course, opening the space would be in hold your ceremony. That is kind of a given, and we've talked about how to open spaces in that first phase that we in other lessons. So this is where I'm saying that everything that we're talking about is just going to be reused and reused and reused. The more that you practice it, the deeper it's going to be for you. Does anybody have any questions or anything you'd like to share around any of those two first lessons?
I'm not sure. I don't think my question really is directly in either of those, so I'm happy for other people to ask questions first, and if there's time, then I can ask my question.
Okay. I will say it was really quite coincidental, synchronistic. Is it really a coincidence? That we went to this Tara Supta. So it was a stupa, a a stupa, which was like this Buddhist prayer, and it was a temple that was specifically in honor of Tara. And I took a picture. I'm going to add it to the group because it had this beautiful suggestion for how to walk in meditation. And at the bottom, it had the best line that kind of went right in line with what we were talking about in terms of our ceremonies and rituals, and that any ritual is just a ritual. It's the intention that matters. It doesn't even matter what we're doing, the elements that we talked about that we can curate. A lot of these elements are really helping our senses and our perception be fully in the present and be fully with the ceremony or ritual that we're conducting, right? Are the steps needed? Do we actually have to do all of these things? No, it's really just aligning our focus and our vision and our, once again, perception to fall in line energetically so that everything is connected on every level. And that is really the intention, especially when we're holding a ceremony with other people, not only for myself to gather my perception, but everybody's perception, to have a focus with the candle, with the ambiance, with the songs, with the whatever it is, the medicine, to bring them into such a state of presence with themselves and whatever it is that intention is. This is the purpose for these elements of the ritual and the ceremonies. And but again, the intention is everything. Yeah. Is there anybody else that had any questions? And if not, Julie, just go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay, I guess I'll go. It's so I feel like I've been on a bit of a self-directed spiritual boot camp for the last little bit because I had a very painful experience recently, and it really made me want to grow. So I wanted to bring this question to you because I'm learning a lot, and so One of the things that I sincerely want to do is clear my samskaras, so my energy blockages or triggers or whatever you want to call them, so that I can be a clear channel for Shakti or for God or for love or whatever we want to call that energy to flow through. And I'm finding there's maybe this is just my preliminary look at it, but it seems like there's two different camps on how to do that. You know, there's techniques and everything, but one of them is Michael Singer, you know, Untethered Soul, the surrender experiment, all that kind of stuff, which is more like my life is going to bring up perfectly what I need to clear, and then I just need to know how to release those samskaras as they come up. And then there's another school, which is, I guess, like more pranic healing type thing. I've been following Master Ko work, his work. He's a disciple of Grandmaster Chokok Sui. And it's more like, you got to get in there and clean those chakras. And like they've got these techniques and it's like, you know, blasting it with light kind of thing. So there's like one where it's very, very kind of let's just get in there and clean out whatever it is, even if you don't know what it is, just clean out all those chakras and become that. They're both of them want you to be a clear, want me to be a clear channel for source, for God, whatever we want to call that, which is more Kichimanadu. But they have, one of them seems more, let's go in there deliberately and try to do something. And the other one is more like, your life will just naturally bring up opportunities for me to release these samskaras, energy blockages, triggers, whatever we want to call them. So what do you think, Christina?
I think that it's really important, as I say this again and again, and it applies here too, to really feel what is resonant for you now. And it might be different. There was a time in my life where I had enough space that I was hunting. I was like going in there, digging things up, looking at things. That's where I was. That's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be looking for more. I wanted to be now I will, that was also a part of me that felt like I wanted to get to
Yeah.
a place where it's finally empty. It's a journey of emptying in my this is life. And it's I'm sure there's other thoughts, you know, there's other to do it as well, not just the I also have a firm belief that whatever is going to come needs to come up is going to find you wherever you are, meditating on a mountain or you're having fun with kids, the triggers will find the things. It's up to you. It's up to you where you're at and what feels right. And as I said, there's not one right way or wrong way because at one point the other felt right. It felt right to be looking. And now for me, it feels right to just live in as much joy and take a moment to face what is coming up when it comes up, and it always does. It always does. However, it's allowed me space to integrate then by living this way, by focusing on the joy and the fun and the light and all of that. The hard still comes up, but as I said, it's woven in. Um, and again, for me, um, I got a little like I just went through like a really moody phase of my life when I was really excavating constantly that I had to search harder for the joy because I became so adjusted to searching for the trigger and searching, you know, and I don't know. Like, I'd love to hear from others as well, to hear your opinions, and maybe Hanu, you can share in a moment too, because to me, as this incarnation in a human body, it's a bottomless pit. There's just always another something to see, another experience, another lifetime. Where is this that I feel like I need to face? And as it's not that I'm completely empty, there's still triggers for sure. And I don't know the experience of someone who has completely attained enlightenment because I'm not that. On some level, I am, but in this form, there are things that trigger me. However, the trigger is less of a distraction. So I see it and I believe it. I feel it and I know it's not true. And there's a difference there and a growth and a maturity in myself that I've seen, just from allowing that to come up as it needs to. And again, all of these other practices that I'm sharing with you, that we've been sharing, and I'm sure more that you already know, beyond what.
Christina, you froze.
Um,
Just one second. You froze for the last maybe 20, 30 seconds. Could you maybe just repeat the last thing you were saying?
After the word beyond, um,
rewind.
beyond the context and content of this program, so all of the practices that you have been cultivating in your life, all of them are helping you become more aware and more present with yourself ultimately, right? These are the samskaras and these are the triggers. It's just aspects of ourself that we've learned, that we've been born into, that we've accumulated. You know, doing our practices, I believe, is a way in which we're clearing every day and we're showing up in the present moment. And and I trust in that. I trust in that deeply. I don't remember exactly what I said afterwards, but I'll rewatch it, and if there's anything to add, then I'll add it. But I'll let Hanu share.
It's such a deep question, but what was coming up, as Christina was talking, I was kind of reflecting back. I visited an ashram a few years ago, and at that time, I mean, I'm still seeking, um, but I was seeking liberation. And I did have this experience at the end of my month there, where in deep meditation, a really long meditation, I felt my whole chakra system open up and this shakti come in, and like this massive clearing that happened. And I left that meditation in the ashram with a completely shifted, different consciousness. I was not the same person as I was when I arrived. Um, but I continued to have to walk, obviously, my journey, and then more stuff came up. And I would say after that moment, it was more of the ancestral stuff that was starting to come up. I received that grace. I think part of it was because I was so dedicated to my path and following my heart to lead me to that ashram and to lead me to all the experiences before that, to follow my heart. And I did receive the grace to clear a lot of stuff, but then it was still okay. Now it's the ancestral stuff that we have to dig deeper into. So it's a constant process. And what else? Like I think there's no wrong path. So again, what Christina said, it's like whatever's resonating for you. And there might be a time where you do need that external help. You want somebody to blast open your chakras. I would say, in my own opinion, that's probably that will be harder to integrate, because the chakras contain so much information, including the ancestral stuff. And if we just open that up it really depends on the container and everything, and the timing, because our soul chose to come here, chose to go through all these lessons, chose to go on a difficult journey for most of us living through these times of Kali Yuga. um, and so if we don't go through those lessons appropriately, then we might have to cycle back and do them again. So I would always, you know and this is my consciousness now. Back, a few years ago, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go and do this, but it created more suffering for myself and created more suffering for those around me, when I was forcing things as opposed to just allowing um, things to come to me. And I think cultivating awareness and cultivating a deep meditation practice of sitting and quieting the mind to allow, the thoughts to slowly fade, and then we can receive that grace if our heart is pure and we put that intention to spirit, we can receive that pure transmission to help clear. And I think if we dedicate ourselves, to be in service, that's a huge part, to be in service in whatever capacity we can, um, then then we are following our dharma, and that will help clear our karma. So that's helpful.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to take a few breaths just to integrate all of that, because then I'm going to start talking again. So before we get into that,
I hope I didn't cut out, because I won't remember.
No, we heard you well. At least I did.
good. So beautiful wisdom shared. And now there's the other part, that we're going to fine tune certain things, as the question was asked, the words used, and again, I know this is just, we're communicating, but this is the reason I'm bringing this up is for others too, who might feel this way or think this way. So this is not a reflection on, this is exactly how you feel, but just the words used to articulate, how do they want me? Like, what do they want me to do? They want me to allow the Shakti to flow through. Again, part of it is like, well, what do I want for my life? There's no one way. Great mystery, God, want is your want. It's your want. And trust me, I say this full well knowing that my prayer is thy will, not my will. But there is an aspect of me that knows it is not Christina's will. It is Christina's higher self will, the great mystery aspect of myself that I'm moving through, right? So my is still valid, is still relevant. So really, like, anchoring in and feeling into what feels right for me, and can I like open a space where I can start to trust that. And I say this because I know for myself, this was a big thing of reconditioning or rehabilitating. I often say I need to rehabilitate the trust with myself, because there's been a lot of times where I have not listened to myself, and different situations that really supported not listening to myself. It seemed right. So I feel like I'm still in a season of my life where I'm in this rehabilitation program of my own self-trust. So that is a really important aspect. Also, not to bring up fear that we're doing it wrong or that we will have to come back. Being in the present moment is approaching it as, I'm doing what I'm doing, and it's enough. Right? Like, I'm not doing it to prevent another reincarnation. I'm not doing it to prevent someone being mad at me, or energies being mad at me, or bad karma. No, I'm doing it because I'm being present and I'm honoring what is. And if it feels right to do your practice, do your practice. If it feels right to rebel and abandon your practice for the day, or, however, a period of time, do that and be in integrity and own, your choice in the matter. This is how you get to walk, and it's going to look different than how we walk, and that is the beautiful thing about it. And the more you allow yourself to be as you are, some scars and all, triggers and all, the more I've found that we can hold compassion for others because we recognize it then. Be like, man, I know what you're feeling. I remember feeling that way. I remember feeling scared. I remember feeling triggered. I know what that's like, and it's okay because I took the time to be with myself when I was feeling that way. So I find a lot of these triggers get to be dispelled because we can just allow space for them if we can. I mean, it is a process, don't get me wrong. And all of these different authors and teachers and spiritual groups that are offering, I think, offering suggestions, offering a way. It's perfect because there's so many of us and we'll all resonate with something different. But that's why there's so many different practices and techniques, because there's so many different seasons and aspects of ourselves that we'll move through. What's working for me today might not work for me next week. That's why we have the practice of presence, of being with myself today in this moment, instead of just being in habit of doing, to say that I'm just clearing, I'm thinking about the light coming into the crown of my head and then moving to my heart. Okay, now down through my root chakra down to the earth. Okay, I'm clear. That's different than really taking the time to be present and feeling that settling, that movement of clearing, that feeling the energy of clearing, right? We don't want to get tied to just like the verbal technique. Like I was just saying in the beginning, the ritual, it's the intention. We need to get really clear. And so when we say, like, feel it in your heart, or move into your heart, listen to your heart, live from your heart, it's living from intention. That's where that's coming from. It's not just, boom, what, like trying to decipher Morse code. It is really moving in and feeling that deeper feeling. There was something else I thought I wanted to add, but it's left me for the moment. Is there anybody else that wanted to add? Such a great question. And probably a million answers. Okay, I'll keep adding then. I think at the end of the day,
I have something.
oh, go ahead.
It's Eva here. I'm going to ramble probably a little bit. I'm trying to pick up on a few of the different threads that were there, about being more active in terms of clearing and so on, or like blasting in, or being more gentle with it. I've gone through a trauma, and that is a blast, not a good blast. And there's a lot of resistances and defenses and so on, and a lot of opening, but it's kind of a ripping wide open and too many layers at once. I didn't really have a choice, but so that's just kind of like a comment that, if one goes too actively, it would be kind of like traumatizing yourself. That one has to be gentle in the process. And then I just want to recount an experience I had yesterday, because it kind of makes me think of what everybody's sharing right now. I mean, I'm actively in my divorce process still, and I was triggered by a step, and was quite tearful. And I just said, okay, I give up. I'm going to go lie on the couch and just let myself feel this right now. And rather than going, okay, what can I do to make myself feel better? What needs to be done, which again is just all this kind of distraction. So I just lay there, and, the first thought is, okay, here I am feeling sorry for myself. But again, that's a judgment. I said, no, no, I have a right to feel this way. It is sad. And so I just kind of sat with it, and it actually moved through me. And there was a sense, all of a sudden I said, oh, I'm feeling actually quite peaceful. And so there was this peace that came to me, which has never happened before, by just letting it through me rather than just being so active about it. Sorry, I'm talking with my hands and I realize that nobody can see me. Anyway, I don't know, that was a bit of a ramble, but it just reminded me of that, especially with Hanu saying, you know, like trying to clear, I think it was Hanu saying clearing all the chakras at once, or somehow trying to do everything at once, just is just way too much. And then the other reflection I had was that when we start excavating, and possibly also by using medicines, we rip ourselves open as well. And we think we're integrating, but sometimes we're not. And it's like, whoa. I mean, I just recently felt like, okay, I've been kicked off my life path by circumstances. I've opened myself wide open. And it's like, okay, now I feel like I'm floating on the periphery of society because I don't know even where to connect anymore. I don't know how to connect to myself. I don't know what's true anymore. I mean, I know at times I know what's true. And then other times I go, well, is that even true? Like a silly example. Do I like gardening, or is it because my mom liked gardening and I was exposed to it as a kid? You know, so it's just like, wow, we excavate too deep. We don't even know where we are anymore. So there's a bit of a cautionary tale. I guess that's my story. And that's it for now.
Thank you so much for that share. You hit some really beautiful points and really important points. Everything can be overdone. Even the practices, the looking, the seeking. I think it's really great that you got to that place of peace, presence, that place of presence that you get to just from allowing. Being with what is being in the present moment. That in and of itself is a spiritual practice. That is the spiritual practice. This is what all of the practices are guiding us towards. Being angry and allowing the anger, as opposed to, it's bad to be angry. I shouldn't feel angry. Angry is going to cause me stress, which is going to cause me heart disease, which is blah, 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 right? Being with it, I'm angry. I'm going to be angry, and then it's going to move like a big cloud passing over. Actually, in some indigenous cultures, they'll say, I'm sitting with anger. They don't say, I am angry. They say, I'm sitting with anger, because they recognize it as it's something they're experiencing, not something they are. They're not bringing that level of attachment and identification to it. And again, in a lot of the spiritual practices, when we talk about being in the present moment, there's also talk of attachments or grasping. And even when we are seeking enlightenment and liberation, we can start grasping. We must have it. I must stay to my practices. I must get rid of my samskaras, and I must clear my channels to be open. And anytime I'm not open, like, there's a grasping there. And that's not allowing. That's not presence. That's not everything is impermanent, right? Everything is constantly changing. We take a breath in, we take a breath out, we take a breath in, we take a breath out. Things are shifting all the time. So the spiritual practice is allowing those shifts. Things are really great right now. We're celebrating all of the things that are great. And then I guarantee you it's not going to last. And it's not a pessimistic view. It's realistic. We celebrate and expand the moments that feel great. And then the moments that don't feel good, we still sit with, but we just allow them to pass. And for me personally, like I've chatted with you many times now, what I call the beauty way, or being more compassionate to self, is being like allowing myself to be with those times and just seeing how I can feel comfortable until it passes and I get again to more of a celebration. And when we can recognize that, we can see these flows, these ebbs and flows in every single day. And so again, there's less attachment when the trigger comes up. It's like, I'm triggered. It'll move. I don't need to do a whole bunch of digging. And again, another point was brought up with these practices and medicines, plant medicines, other things. As you know, these are medicines that I use, ceremonies that I hold and I'm part of, and it's a deep part of my life. And yes, it can be too much. We really, again, ask ourselves, what are we not accepting in ourselves that we need to keep going every single weekend to blast something open? Can we just be as we are? And I've noticed with myself, as I embrace myself, as I embrace all parts of myself, triggers and all, it's not all pretty, but as I embrace it, there's space, they settle, it's relaxed. They're not as eager to be seen because I'm not ignoring them. I'm just loving them. So that's my share on the one question and all of the things added. Are there any other questions, any other comments, things to bring up? Anything else from you?
No.
I feel like one more thing wants to come through. Is there anything else?
I can share, but if you wanna keep going.
No, by all means, please.
Okay. I don't even know what I'm gonna share, but I feel I need to share. I want, not need, but I want. You hear me well? Okay. Yeah, like I don't know if I told you, but I'm in my 9-year cycle, so it's the completion. A lot of stuff is moving, like what happened to everyone, right? And like yesterday, I'm gotta express, but I don't know what to express exactly. So I just express all to then realize other things that's related to that is in for Aaron and I, for both of our, everything is for both of our highest good, of course. But I mean, it's really linked to a reason that I'm expressing, but I don't know if it's okay to say these things or not. And so I've been exploring that. And since that openness in the morning yesterday, I just keep receiving little things that I would feel a trigger, but I'm aware too that it's about me. But there was some things that they were still like sneaky, and I wasn't really aware. I wasn't going to see, okay, so if I feel that about him, it's because that about me that I don't like in me, or something really that, yes, some ego pattern, or so. But it's just piling up, like, that's because of that, and this is because of the pride I have. So I'm ashamed of showing that, this thing is playing in me, and I'm not gonna talk about it. But not talking about it, it just keeps me trapped. Like I need to reveal it to be free, so it doesn't play as intensely through me. But it's just going deeper, right? All these stuff need to go. Even if there's just a residue, it needs to go. And like you were saying, like we just allow it. We don't fight against it, pump the energy down to clear it. No, it's just as if you're at peace with it. Yeah, now the energy will just go itself. You don't need to force it, right? So yeah, it's been interesting what's happening lately. So yeah, it's fun, and it's opening more to my connection with Aaron, and So yeah. Thank you. Oh yeah, and I just wanted to say something else. You were saying about allowing, whatever comes, and which is what I was doing, but there was still some stuff, and then the more I was like, wow, I felt that light coming through, and there's some kind of excitement or related to pride. And then that's what, like, oh, I'm going through this now, this other stuff going on in me, and now you feel ashamed of talking about it because you feel so, because yeah, those are the two polarities, I think. Pride will make you feel ashamed of, oh, what's going on now with you. So it was funny, but it's like like I always say, every new vibrational frequency we reach, we readjust. We'll experience again a little bit of pride, and then whoop, okay, I'm ashamed. No, I don't want to feel that. That doesn't feel good. So, well, yeah, no, that's the thing. It's okay. I feel it. Allow it, let it flow through, and then and also I was receiving the guidance like to release this excitement. Don't grasp into the excitement, just let it be. Feel this light, let it be. But it's so amazing what it feels like. You feel like you're home in your room space. It's just wow. Like now it's a matter of practicing to welcome this amazingness in the body, this reconnection to who we are, right? Slowly going there and just being okay, it's there, and don't have to say it, don't have to talk about it. It's just, it's hard. But I'm practicing. Thank you.
It's a practice. The wind is agreeing with you. The wind is in support of everything you're saying.
Oh yeah.
I like that you said that it's fun. It's not always fun, but it can be. It can be. Hanu can attest. There's sometimes I get angry, but like I'm excited to be angry. And because it's just another level for me, like you were saying, the triggers are just showing us what's still in there. It's like there's still something there. It's not to punish. It's not to make us feel like, oh, it's just a reminder that, you're still carrying some stuff. That's all. And you can take a deeper look. And if you don't have space, then you don't look, but the trigger will get louder until you have the time. But no one's mad. No spirits are mad that you're not looking at it quick enough or anything. So yeah, there was a comment too. I'm gonna read.
And I just want to add quickly.
Yeah.
That whenever, like, if we were to be peaceful, we'd be peaceful with every single thing happening around us. It would just flow through us. It wouldn't affect us.
Yeah.
Yeah, enlightenment is finding peace in the hell realms. It's not just staying in the heavenly realm. It's finding peace in all of it.
In all of it.
You know?
So the message was just, I'm also in year 9 and feeling a lot of the same things lately. We're all so deeply connected. And, I'll share, because you had also mentioned sometimes it just needs to come out. You just need to look at it. We're staying in an absolutely beautiful place, and there were a couple of issues the first night, and I was really feeling like mentally I knew it was okay, we're okay, but like my body, my physical response, my nervous system response felt unsafe. I felt off. I didn't feel comfortable. And like I said, I'm really in this practice of trusting myself and my feelings and my listening. My head can rationalize anything. I could be in crazy situations and my mind could still be, well, it could be okay. So I'm really learning to listen to the feelings and so my nervous system, but also not to believe everything that triggers me. So again, it's a practice. And so here we are, we're still here, but I had options. Hanu, was really like, I feel like we should stay. And I was like, I feel like we should leave. And there was a part of me battling within myself to just say something. It's part of the conditioning, part of the samskaras, part of the, all of that is, I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to disturb anything. I don't want to create any conflict. That kind of stuff was coming up for me. And so I was trying to like just sit there like, do I say something? I know it will have a great time. I know it can be okay. And I trust him. But I do also trust me. And I really needed to be in that practice, you know? And so, and I trust, I trust in our path and everything that's unfolding. So it was really necessary for me. It might seem silly, but for me, it was a fear to share with my beloved that I have an opinion that goes kind of against what he had decided is might cause more work. And we're not guaranteed that it's going to have a better outcome. But it was really important for me in my practice of trusting myself and honoring myself to speak to that. And I share it because that is just a subtle way in which I was confronting that trigger. I was confronting that samskara. I was confronting that aspect of myself that was, afraid. So it doesn't always have to be these big traumas, but these little things, just like little kinks instead of a big, big, big knot. And just by speaking it, my whole energy shifted. And we're still here and we're having an amazing time. If we stayed here anyways, I would have bottled that and it could have become bigger and I could have felt less trust with myself, which then probably would have been projected onto him at some point, and or someone else, it obviously our partner, like our romantic partners, are usually the ones that we will project the most because they're the closest to us and spend the most time with us. But if he wasn't in my life, I guarantee it would have been someone else. Maybe my mom. I don't know. But it's just this is the cycle. And we're having a good time. And it took, 20 minutes maybe in that journal, that journey of reflection of myself of like, okay, what's happening? What am I feeling? What do I need to express? We didn't move anywhere, but I expressed it. And based on what I expressed, certain decisions were made. And then I feel free to be here and safe and all of the things. So allowing what is, making space for yourself and honoring yourself are all ways in which we are walking this path of awareness and undoing the knots of samskaras. Yeah, just one little example. And we've had it. And okay, I'm also going to share, like, okay, I'll share about our last night because we do have very strong practices, each of us. And as you know, because I'm sharing them all, but like, I'm not just saying it to say it. This is what I practice every single day. And yesterday we spent a beautiful time at the stupa. And it was a stupa on the beach. And so again, we walked for about half an hour, just in this walking meditation, chanting Tutara. And then we got to be on with Lama Kempo, who was on Zoom, but we were in this like beautiful temple, Maloka type prayer space, and we're in practice with this worldwide group, like amazing, right? So we have this anchor, we have a beautiful day at the beach, we decide to go into town, ice cream, all of it, we're like in joy.
Well, and I'll interrupt.
Yeah, please.
It also worked out that we were invited by the person where we're staying now.
Yeah.
So if we had left, we would have missed that connection.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it all is how it needed to be. Who I'm really hoping to come and hope that she shares a module in this course because she's a phenomenal doula and creates ritual like the base of the ancient Mexican culture. Um, so anyways, so we have this great day in Tulum, and we come back after a full day. We're tired, and our car was missing. And there's so many things that could have gone wrong. There's so many things that we could have gotten at each other for decisions made, for choices. It didn't matter. And having a practice of being with what is, we both know that it doesn't matter if this happened, if that happened, what it is what it is. We actually, everything that we think could have happened if something was different, that is imagination only. That is not truth. That is pure imagination. Saying, if I had only put my cup closer in from the edge, it wouldn't have fallen over and spilt on my purse. That's imagination. We don't know what would have happened. So, all to say, it was an adventure. It was an adventure with the police, with the tow truck station, the tow place,
Compound
the
yard.
compound after hours in the dark, on foot with no phone because it was dead. So
But we got the car back,
everything worked out because we were both in trust.
and we even gave Christina a beautiful onyx pendant to the police officer at the station that helped us really, because in Mexico things can be challenging when you're dealing with the authorities in that way. You know, they're trying to get as much money, but they were very helpful because we were able to kind of maintain a positive attitude and just, so the universe helped us get out of it. And I think it was a blessing for everyone involved, including just us having to go to that police station and the compound yard. And we had many interactions with some very interesting people and were able to share some energy and love. And so and we ended up getting the car back and we made it home.
And it was just like part of the day. But I think the key parts to highlight of this is there was no panic. There was no trigger, because by our daily practices, by everything that we've been working towards individually and together, we actually had a very beautiful kind of ceremony on the beach yesterday, him and I. Because of those things, those elements that we practice, it anchors in this belief, this protection, this connection that it's okay. Whatever it is, it's going to be okay. So let's just allow it, right? So as soon as it happened, we started thinking, like we were just at Tara's stupa, and we were just chanting, like, it's got to be part of the plan. It's okay. There's no punishment. It's just helping. And if anything, this is actually I'm glad you brought this up, because this is a really good example of everything that we're talking about. Because I even said this in the drive home, like, it adds another element of real to this. It's not just a blissful, easy, nothing wrong happened trip. There was both. There was diversity and there were different types of moments, but we were able to be in peace, in ourselves, in love through it all. And that is exactly why I do these practices. And this is why I am so passionate and open to share these practices, because it's just slowly shaving off the fear that's so unnecessary. That's not going to help anything. That's not going to change anything. The fear is just a perception of the mind. So we don't actually have to entertain it. But yeah, so that's our That's our real story. That's our story of how things, how like a bad situation was okay.
It
Anyways,
was fun. I was sitting, we were waiting for the car super late.
eating rambutan.
Yeah, rambutan or whatever it's called.
Rambutan
And
liver.
I mean, the compound was closed, so
It
we
was
weren't even
closed.
supposed to get the car, but the attendant was, he really tried his best. He obviously got the owner to come back to release the car. But I even said, "Oh, this is a good one, universe. Thank you. This was a fun one." She's, don't say that.
It wasn't fun. It was okay. We made the
It was
best
an
of it.
adventure.
It was an
It was an
adventure,
adventure.
and it's humbling. Like you were saying, Satya, like, the pride and then the shame, but it doesn't even have to be that. It doesn't even have to be the pride and the shame. It's like the bliss and the humility together, just
Right in the middle.
right in the middle.
Middle of path.
Yeah. So anyways, that's our story. Does anybody else have anything they want to share or say, add? Okay.
I have
Well,
one more thing. I'll see if I
Mhm.
can do it. Just a second. There. It's just some reality for you guys.
You're not a picture.
Yeah, just so you know, we're just looking at ourselves here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you'll see it later.
We'll see it tonight. We come home tonight.
Yeah, good, good.
All right. I love you all. I'm going to stop the recording.
Enjoy.